good evening and welcome to this special Sports Journalist Roundtable. I'm Rick DeBrule in for Ted Simons. Joining us tonight, Paula Bovin, the Digital Director of the Cronkite News Sports Bureau. Brett Curlin, he is the Director of Sports Programs at the Cronkite School, and Mike Sunnix of the Business Journal. And while it's tempting to start with the big game, the Super Bowl, we actually have a pretty big event right here in the Valley this weekend, the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Once again, big crowds are the norm, but I guess we have to start talking about the fact that we don't actually know how big the crowds are going to be, because for the first time, the Phoenix Open, the Waste Management Phoenix Open, is not going to report them. Do we care? Is that something we should be thinking about or talking about?
I think it's fun to hear those numbers.
But if I'm worried about the future of golf, and I think, who are my next generation? Don't I really want more Phoenix Opens and fewer British Opens?
Absolutely.
In a way, it's kind of like playing at Yankee Stadium for the first time. It's just grass. It's just a bat and a ball and a wall, but it's the environment that you're going into. So here's the question: how much longer can it continue to grow and continue to have success? You know, obviously we should be talking about Justin Thomas and Ricky Fowler and Bubba Watson, but the golfer we really have to talk about is Phil Mickelson. I mean, here it is, his 30th time that he has participated in this event. He's 48 years old. I mean, when you look at any athletes in any other sports, and to be there 30 years would be, I mean, imagine a football player, a baseball player.
Right.
And what does it say about both the sport and, more importantly, about Phil Mickelson? So let's make a little bit of a shift. There is this other event going on this weekend. We've heard a little bit about the Super Bowl. Once again, we're talking about Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots going into it, but we have a young upstart team that's coming into it. So what is the big story this weekend?
I'm just fascinated by a 24-year-old quarterback going against a 41-year-old quarterback. I mean,
Goosey and make it a big game.
So is this another one of those years where everybody's rooting against the New England Patriots? I mean, I haven't heard as much. Last year, everybody was rooting for the Eagles. I haven't heard as much for the Rams, and I'm curious if it's because they're from L.A.
Oh, the Saints.
All right, so I want to go off and talk about some other sports, but before I do, we have to ask the typical question, which is who's going to win? Which is, I remember last year, this same
Patriots,
group said, the Patriots, the Patriots, the Patriots.
Yeah.
What do you say?
the Patriots, and the Patriots.
All right, so we only have about 4 or 5 minutes left, and I want to talk about some of the other sports. And more importantly, I want to talk about, you know, let's face it, all of the teams here in the Valley seem to be in a bit of a funk right now. So let's talk about the health of the sports themselves. And we'll start with baseball. You know, the fact, is baseball strong enough nationally to lift up teams like the Diamondbacks? And Brad, I'm going to swivel to the NBA because we're running out of time. Is the NBA strong enough to help the Suns? All right, real briefly, we're almost out of time. We got about less than a minute. What about the National Hockey League? So it sounds like of those three, you're thinking that NBA is leading the way, hockey's still got potential, but baseball has the potential rockiest road.
I have higher hopes from baseball from these two, but I'm even more romantic than Paul is.
Baseball. All right, well, thank you, Paula. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate your being here, and I look forward to talking to you again about your picks and see if Brett's bold pick comes true.